Hi, my name's Leonie Bolt, and I went from high school troublemaker and long-time backpacker to accidental entrepreneur. After 15 years working as a professional photographer and running my own studio, I grew into becoming a personal empowerment and business mentor to help other women to follow their passions and find their purpose too. I've learned to pave my own way through life, and now I empower others to do the same, to break through their limiting beliefs and empower them to shine. Welcome to the Empowered to Shine podcast, where we dive deep into creating a life by your own design. Hello, and welcome to the Empowered to Shine podcast.
Thank you, Leonie. I love the name. Absolutely love it.
Our guest today is Beverley Rilatt Richardson, and she is someone near and dear to my heart. She has shown me what it's like to embrace my femininity, which is definitely a journey that I've been really discovering over the past 12 months. As a businesswoman, I do tend to get stuck in my masculine energy. I've got this fiery Aries energy that's always about do, and not enough be. So it's been an incredible journey balancing out my masculine and feminine. And I have you to thank for that, Beverley, in part for one of your workshops that I attended recently. And I think that was the start of my journey, really rediscovering my feminine side. So tell everybody a little bit about you and what you do.
Thank you, Leonie. It's a joy to be on this show. I love this concept of shine because we have a beautiful embodiment practice called radiance, which helps women to know how to shine. My journey really only started 10 years ago. I became a widow. And after that, I thought, well, I don't know what's going to happen. I need to do something. I need to find something to do with the rest of my life. But rather than rushing in to try and work out what that was, I surrendered to the grieving process first. It was like going into this cocoon of grief and being kind of all mashed up like the caterpillar. And it was painful and it was lonely. But when I'd done that, I had my breakthrough just 7 months to the day from his funeral. And that was amazing time, only 7 months, right? And I was able to go to a New Year's Eve party and get up and dance. I hadn't danced for 30 years. And so I felt a bit self-conscious to begin with. But after half an hour, I'm grooving away, to all the Beatles and ABBA and all this that I knew from times past. And I thought, you know what, I'm feeling joy again. I'm feeling the kind of joy I hadn't felt for years because I'd been my husband's carer and he'd been frail-aged. And it was like a 24/7, right? So I'd almost burnt out. So I got through that. And so I came out as the butterfly saying, okay, what now? And I thought maybe I might work with widows because that made some sort of sense. Until I went to this heart intelligence retreat. Now, I was over in England at this point because my niece lived in France. I went there for 3 months, went to England for 6, came back to France, and then came back. So I had a 12-month ticket to really find myself. Yeah. So I'm in England and I'm going to this heart intelligence retreat. I knew really nothing about it, but I thought, if I'm going to work with widows, I think I'm emotionally intelligent. I'm pretty sure I am, but what about the women that I'm going to be working with? So I went to this retreat. And it was an experiential thing. You could do what you want. Oh, okay, one of those. So I figured I'd really gone through my grieving process. I didn't know what I was going to process. I just sat back and watched for the first 24 hours. And then this woman got up and did this beautiful kind of sensual dance because she felt disempowered because her partner had become impotent through an operation and she was grieving the loss of their normal sexual relationship. So as she's doing this dance, I'm watching and it was moving, tears sprung to my eyes, which you would think would be appropriate. But by the time she'd finished, I felt the tears not only rolling down my cheeks, but actually plopping onto my chest. It was so great. And I thought, my God, I don't know this woman from Adam. I can't be feeling for her, right? It must be me. Yeah. And of course, my brain said, oh, come on, you've just gone through your 9 months ago you lost your husband. And I'm thinking, yes, that's right, I have. But I know it's not that because I've been through the process. Excuse me, while I just put another earring on. Just realised my earring had fallen off. I thought it can't be that because I've been through that and I've come out as a butterfly. And then it hit me like a ton of bricks. First aha moment, probably one of the first I've ever had. And I thought, it's grief. Oh my God, I'm grieving because I've never felt like this beautiful, sensual, feminine, erotic creature that I saw in front of me. And I was 67 and I thought, I missed out. It's too late. You know, I didn't even know that side of the world existed. And suddenly I see it existed and I missed out. I mean, if that makes sense, right? I'm 67, right? And so then the other part of my brain, you know, the part that was still working properly, kicked in and said, you're at an experiential retreat, darling. It doesn't have to stay that way. You can do something about this. And I thought, could I get up and dance like that in front of one of the guys? Oh, don't be ridiculous. You know, the defensive part of my brain kicked in and said, the very conservative part, and said, you're too old. You wouldn't know what to do. You'd freeze up. Nobody would want you. Who would want a woman of your age trying to do something like this? And all of that kicked in. But while that was going on in my brain, my heart saying to me, go for it. Go for it. If you don't do it now, you never will. You might meet somebody else. Who knows? Yeah. So, in a small voice, I was absolutely, pardon my French, but shit scared, Leonie. I just didn't know what was going to happen. So, but I knew I had to do something. So I just said in a small voice, could I get up and dance sensually in front of one of the guys? And the facilitator just kind of, he didn't really laugh, but he just sort of smiled sweetly and said, of course, pick somebody. No, I don't want to pick anybody. I wouldn't know who to pick. They might not want to participate, right? So he said, you want me to ask the guys if there's one person would like to stand up so you can dance sensually in front of them. It's in my mouth. Okay, guys, you heard. Beverley wants a volunteer to dance sensually in front of. Well, honestly, I couldn't believe what I saw. Every male hand in the room shot up, Leonie. Every male hand. And the first thing I thought was, oh my goodness me, I've still got pulling power. I didn't even know I had it in the first place, but I've still got pulling power. And the second thing was, wow, this sensuality thing must be something that's really important for men. That was the second thing. So because they'd all volunteered, I got them all up. And I thought, oh, this is not going to be easy. So I got the women to stand up behind them in a circle to give me support. And they put on this music, and I didn't know what I was going to do, but I felt intuitively my body would know. So I got up and kind of put my hands above my head and kind of, did this kind of thing and floated like mad and twirled around in front of each man individually. And something inside me just broke and woke up in that experience. And at the end of it, the first thing was the women said, wow, you don't lose your libido as you age. Oh, well, thank God for that, right? I didn't even know that until I did it. So as a result of that, the facilitator said to me, there's a woman I know, an Australian woman, who's teaching women about feminine principles and leadership and the shadow side and this art of feminine presence. So I went and did training with her. And I'd had this premonition when I was trying to find something to do with the rest of my life. I had this premonition at the time that whatever was going to happen through me. And I didn't know what that meant, but it gave me permission to stop angsting about what I was going to find, that something would reveal itself. And when you're that serious about life or to life, life responds. So when I had that experience and I found this training, right, that's it. I'm going to become the medium that's the message. And so as a result of that, I did my training to become a teacher of the art of feminine presence. Just beautiful embodiment practice. It's a little bit like yoga. You've experienced some of them as well.
Yeah.
To help reconnect women to this inner feminine and sensual woman within. She's there in the heart of every woman. But unfortunately, she can be suppressed, as in my case, 50 years because of my upbringing in the Christian church. She can be neglected. She can be abused. when a little girl is growing up, she may suffer abuse issues. And so she will turn away from the masculine and from that side of herself that she thinks has got her into trouble. So there are so many different blocks that women can experience as a result of their upbringing. So that's part of what I do now, Leonie. I do it through a variety of different things. Currently, I'm running a once-a-month beautiful divine feminine circle where I live on the Redcliffe Peninsula at Conto. And that happens once a month. And we do these embodiment practices. We give each other support if there's any issues that they want to bring up. But also every alternate one, we have a guest. So the next one on the 22nd of March, we've got a beautiful friend of mine who's a massage therapist coming in, and she's going to teach us how to do hand massage, feet massage, foot massage, and neck massage, so that we can have that done to us while we're there, but then take those principles home and use them with our loved ones as well. So that would be super. It's all about empowering women and to get in touch with your body, because that's the thing that a lot of us, you would probably testify how true this is, and I've had to learn. When we're in our head, we're usually in our masculine.
Yeah.
Because that's the part that is the doing, that takes the initiative, does the planning, has to get shit done, as the expression is, right?
Yeah.
But in terms of the feminine side, when we step back and know how to connect with her, then that becomes a more magnetic type of energy, and we can allow things to come to us. And I call it the magnetic feminine energy. And I've had, as I've learning to put these more and more into practice, these principles, didn't happen overnight for me. But as I learned, I have so many opportunities and people coming into my life now to be able to help me to grow.
Yeah.
Despite my many years on the planet, although I don't think of myself as being old at all. In fact, my nickname for myself is the baby boomer babe. So there are a few of us around. Okay, so definitely baby boomer, but I'm not the granny, as it were. So anyway, I do these divine feminine circles. Now, before I go rabbiting on about the next thing, any questions?
Well, I just wanted to put all of that into perspective. Obviously, you empower women by helping them get in touch with their feminine side. Yes. I empower them through the boudoir photography that I do.
Yes.
And so we have different tools that we use to get other women back in touch with their feminine side. And you're right, we do get stuck, even as business women particularly, we get stuck in our masculine, always trying to hustle and meet deadlines, and you don't really find the time to sit back and listen to your intuition. And that's exactly what got you on that dance floor. That intuition, your feminine was really screaming at you at that point.
Hey, look, I'm here. I've been here for 50 years and you haven't seen me.
Yeah, you haven't seen me yet. Why haven't you seen me? And then when you paid attention to your intuition, you're right, you spark that magnetic energy, and we can use it throughout our whole life, attracting the things that we want to attract into our lives, without all of the strain and the hustle and the feeling like you're swimming the wrong way.
Push. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. Pushing the proverbial uphill. Yes.
Exactly. Yeah. So
absolutely. I mean, I've had not with you because I didn't know you well enough at that point, but I've had a boudoir photography session when I was 73. So nobody can say that you're ever too old for that. And I have encouraged women to go to you to have their boudoir photography sessions as well, because I think that's so important for women to be able to trust themselves and their bodies. And a lot of it is about your self-perception and how you see and feel about yourself.
Absolutely, because we all have things that we get hung up about. We all look in the mirror and hate things about ourselves, but all you need to do is actually switch in your brain and tell yourself that you love yourself. Tell yourself that you're beautiful. Tell yourself that you are worth everything that life has to offer you. Because at the end of the day, the only one putting up the walls is you.
Absolutely right, dear. We do it all the time, right? And there is a wonderful practice that a woman can do. I can tell you about it right now on the spot because it won't take long to explain, right? You stand in front of the mirror. Girls, if you find that you feel you're not really respecting yourself, which is really what not feeling worthy and all of that comes down to, you're not really respecting who you are or the way you look, you might be critical of your body or whatever. So if you're not respecting yourself, stand in front of the mirror, bathroom mirror. You can be fully clothed. If you have issues about your actual shape or nudity or whatever, you can do it after you've had a shower. But you don't have to. You can be fully clothed, right? And just stand in front of your mirror with your feet shoulder width apart, so you get some sort of sense of grounding and being not being up and airy fairy, but grounded. And take your attention to your heart. Put your hand on your heart. Take your attention to your heart and imagine somebody in your heart. Close your eyes and imagine somebody in your heart that you love. It could be your child, your partner, even somebody you loved once if they've gone. It doesn't matter. It could be a beloved pet, somebody or something which turns you on in terms of engages your sense of gratitude and joy and love, right? So just imagine that person kind of in your heart and imagine how much they mean to you. How do you feel about them? How they feel about you? How grateful you are that they're in your life. And when you've really got that to the point where you feel you can't feel any more love or joy or gratitude for them, right? Then imagine if you opened your eyes and they were standing right in front of you, how would you look at them? How would you be looking at them, right? With loving eyes, with a smile, with however it was, with light coming out from your eyes, right? Love light. So at that point, when you feel, okay, going to be standing there, you open your eyes and look straight ahead. And of course, you're looking at yourself that way, looking back at you. And it's so powerful. And at that point, you can have a conversation with that woman. It's like she's a third person. And that's what I did spontaneously. And I remember saying, my God, I know you so well. And I know how hard you try. And I know you don't always get there. But I know that you mean so well and your heart's in the right place. And I now have, golly, I've got a lot more respect for you as a result of that. So it's an excellent exercise to do, very easy. And I would encourage every woman. And then, because many can't look into their own eyes. And this is a wonderful way of doing it. Makes sense, Leonie?
Absolutely. Everybody, you need to try that today. Look in the mirror. Close your eyes, think of somebody that you love, and then look at yourself that way. That's an incredible technique. Beautiful.
Yeah. I would say it can be life-changing, Leonie, quite literally. Okay. Anyway, so so if they want to do something a really bit more out there, go and have a boudoir photography session with you, right?
Yeah.
Or you have boudoir and you have the other glamour photography as well.
Yeah. Well,
if they want to pretend to be Marilyn Monroe or somebody,
I always say that it is therapy in a photo shoot. And it's why I started doing the life coaching as well, because it's about diving deeper into who you are and what you want out of life. And it's just that precursor sometimes for people to go, you know what, why am I so hard on myself? I've had people in tears on the couch looking at the photos on the screen, saying to themselves, why am I so hard on myself? And
what a wonderful question.
Yeah. And it's just that trigger. And, I see the change and then they come back to pick up their photos and they're different women and they've been able to step out of their comfort zone. They've been able to go, you know what, that wasn't so hard. So what's next? What else is on my bucket list that I want to tick off? What else do I want to achieve? I'm going to ask my boss for a raise.
Yes. I mean, so many things, right? Because we're our own worst critics. Right.
Yes.
And I mean, even to the point, I know of some women who, will only make love with the light off because they don't want their partner to see how big they are or small they are or whatever it is. Right. And yet all they need to do is to concentrate on the freaking awfully, incredibly sensitive and sensuous and erotic bodies we've got, and they wouldn't be worried about that. Right. Yeah. So it's really important of this sensuality, sexuality to be able to tap into that. So I do that through the circle work and encouraging women to do the boudoir photography. And also, this is my new venture, dear. It's quite exciting. I'm going to have a women's feminine retreat at the end of April, right? The last weekend in April. And it's going to be held at the beautiful Tranquil Park at Mullaney, which is the one with a stunning view of the Glasshouse Mountains from the back, from the deck, right? And yes, it's going to be called the actual theme of the whole weekend is Unleash the Feminine Within You. So the circles are like the feminine oasis, but this is going to be the dynamic part of the work, right? So that a woman can come home from that, hopefully, feeling fabulous, feminine, and sexy, because that's what we're going to be looking at, right?
Oh, how incredible. And you know what? That is something that is going to stick with them for a long, long time. It's not something they're going to walk in to the door at home and it's just going to disappear. That's something that will stay with them for a very long time and hopefully help them build on that moving forward.
Absolutely right, Dee. With other things that I have a beautiful set of oracle cards called Sensual Seed. And they're designed for women. There's just 40 different topics that are just everything from sort of welcome to intimacy, right, to love, to self-empowerment, to self-care. There's so many topics, right, which are relevant for women. And so what I do is not only do I take women for like up to four anyway, for these card sessions to help them to work out why they think they got that particular card. And the issues that come out are incredible. But we do it in a really lovely setting. We go to a beautiful little tea rooms here at Clontarf for those that live close enough, and we have high tea at the same time. So it's just women love high tea, right? And just a chance to chat and really kind of get into the nitty-gritty of some things that might have been troubling them. In fact, I am in awe of these cards because a woman can almost, yes, in fact, at one stage we had a woman who actually got a breakthrough through these cards. The first card she looked at it and burst into tears. And so when we could explore what that was about, and it was an issue she hadn't been wanting to face, but this was kind of giving her the space to be able to do that. And so that made the difference, because once you own something, once you own a problem, you can actually do something about it rather than running away from it.
Absolutely. And when we hide these things, when we push them under the rug, it just manifests into, disease or pain or something else in our bodies because we're not shifting that energy and we're not letting go of it. So, we do have to face these things, don't we?
Oh, absolutely, sweetheart. So that's what we're doing. And if anybody can't come to the peninsula here, I go to them. Just say, okay, well, I'll take the high tea to you. Just provide the tea and the coffee. I take the high tea, one of those, those three-tiered cake stands, right?
Oh,
and I take the high tea to them, and we can still do up to 4 women. So all of that is on my website. The website is thefemininguru.com. And usually under /events, anything that I'm doing active like this all comes under events, right? Fantastic. But in terms of the beautiful retreat, we only decided a week ago that we were going to have the retreat. So it's all brand new. We're working on putting up the event and getting out flyers and that type of thing, Leonie. So in the meantime, I know there will be women that will be interested because we love getting away. We love getting away from it all with other women. It's very special. And to have a topic like this where we're looking at how can the feminine really make a difference in your life, then that will be something which could be quite life-changing for some women. And even despite the blocks that you might come up with, because it's done in a very safe environment. I have the capacity to do that. And whatever comes up, we can help them to deal with, and that is so important. They feel safe and supported and enabled in the process, right? But we'll also have some fun there. I think we're thinking of getting a belly dancer to come up and teach us.
How good.
Belly
So much
dance.
fun. I did
With
belly
those
dancing
little,
once upon a time. Oh, it's so much fun.
absolutely, with those little, you can get those little kind of skirt things that have got, like the scarf things that have got little
Yeah. All
jingly
the
pommels on
jiggles.
the end or something, so you can have fun with that as well. So yes, we're going to have some fun, and there'll be walks. There'll be a walk through the rainforest before breakfast, and meditations, guided meditations, some of these beautiful embodiment practices, and discussions. And I'm giving everybody a journal of their own, so they can start journaling things that might be important for them as well.
Yeah, that's really
So
important too. So this will be on your events page when you go live with that.
yes,
Yeah. And
absolutely right.
where can people find you if they need to find out more information?
Yes, of course, honey. Well, they can friend me on Facebook is probably the easiest. You can see my name on the screen there. Okay. So they can friend me on Facebook, or they can send me a message through the Facebook Messenger and just say, I'd like more information about the circle, or I'd like more information about the retreat, whatever it is. Okay.
Yeah.
And then I do have a Facebook page, which is just, facebook.com/the feminine guru. So they can go to that as well as the website, the feminine guru. But if they put in .com/events, that's where they'll see all of these active things that we've got going on. Okay.
And we'll be able to put those links for you in the show notes. So if you're listening, if you're streaming, just go to leoniebolt.com/podcasts and look for episode number 3, and you'll be able to find the details there as well.
Excellent. That's wonderful. And one more thing, almost forgot. I'm actually a speaker as well, Leonie. Right.
Yeah.
And late last year, I was a speaker for the HB Collective, the very first meeting they ever had, where they decided to showcase my business, which was wonderful, right? So I did that with a woman called Jess Clare. And then in about, I think it's the 15th of April, so another month, I'm going to be the speaker at lunchtime for the BPW at North Lakes. So the Business and Professional Women. So they want to know about, how do you deal with your sexuality as you age? So
Ooh, yes.
that will be a fun one. I should also add, girls, that although I'm a widow, I did actually go back to dating after 70. So that means that I've got some experience of the highs and the lows, right? I don't get it right all the time, right? Definitely not.
And
But
what a time to go back to dating when everything's gone online.
I know. It's very interesting. I don't do online dating. I don't do online. Right. I put it out there to the universe that I wanted to meet somebody in the course of my everyday existence, which is what's happened, right? With anybody I have met, just come back through that, right? But that's been quite an experience. And as a result of that, I actually ended up, it's still on SBS, do a lot of fascinating topics for discussion, right, on their Insight program. And I think it was September 2018, September 2018, I was on their panel for the SBS Insight program on dating after 60. So they decided to invite me in because I'd done it myself and I was helping other women that wanted to go back to that. And at the time, my beau just happened to be, the current one at that time, happened to be 18 years younger than me, which neither of us had any idea when we first got together. We'd sort of been friends for a while, and when we finally decided to start actually relating, more to each other, was only within it took a few weeks to come out that I was actually 18 years older than him. So the program was so intrigued by that, they invited him on. So he was in the audience and they interviewed him as well. So
oh, you've had an incredible life, Beverley.
Oh, yes, I really have, honey. And I mean, way back, there's nothing to do with the work I do, but there's something in me that likes being on the cutting edge, right? And likes being able to take a bit of a risk. So at the tender age of 55, I was a participant in Australia's first reality television show called The Mole, way back in 2000 on Channel 7. It's hard to believe, but that was the very first reality television show in Australia, and I managed to become one of the participants. So you can still see the opening thing on Channel 7, I believe, the opening. So it's all part and parcel of why you can't keep a good woman down in many ways, Leonie. And I really encourage women to look at their life if they're in that midway section, like you do, right? To say, where am I heading? I know you deal more with the business side of things. Thank God you do. I've seen such a change with you. I only remember meeting you as a photographer when I first met you, right? So, and then you started doing all these other things, and I'm thinking, how does she know about those things, So I've had to grow from that, and I would encourage any woman, because there is no such thing to me as age. Aging is simply an attitude, and it's important for women to understand that, right? And you can do anything, really, if you set your mind to it. And I think where I come in and help a woman is to not say, okay, trying to work it all out in my mind, and then I'll go out there and, break ceilings and doing all this, when there's actually an easier way. You've got to do that to some degree, but let's step back and step into this feminine energy, and which engages the softer side of you, and which helps you to look at the issues that maybe might still be lingering there, that maybe need to be looked at, need to be, like any heart hurt from the past that really hasn't yet been properly processed. But you can't move forward without. Okay.
That's right.
So,
That's right. Without your own personal growth, you can't grow in business. And you really, especially as women, we should really be listening to our hearts and then asking our heads, okay, how do I make that happen?
That's right. Exactly right. That's right. And yet we're a bit scared to do that. Okay?
Yeah.
So that's where I do one-on-ones with women as well. I've got a 7-step program called Your Attractor Factor, which can take a woman through looking at what is it about her that attracts other people, right? Or doesn't, right? And many women, I say to them sometimes, okay, you're interested in going back into dating. Yes. Okay. Do you want to meet the kind of man that you've met before? And I kid you not, in 100% of cases, they say, no. So we have to then look at, okay, was it just that you were unlucky with the men that you attracted? Or is there something about you that attracted those men? Right? And when they understand that, it sort of gives them the freedom to be able to say, I can do something about this. I don't have to be a victim anymore.
Yeah. And it comes back to everything being energy. So if you make the choice to change your energy, you will change the people you attract.
Absolutely right, Dean. Absolutely right. So, and all I can say about the men, God bless them, is viva la difference. I mean, part of what I teach is also understanding what men are all about, and why they seem so frustrating. And sometimes I've even had men say to me, will you help me to understand what women are like? Right. So that may be something that I'll be looking at in the future, but for the time being, I'm only too happy to focus on the women. Excellent. So thank you, ladies. So fabulous. And thank you, Leonie.
I'll be popping your details in the notes, and if you want to get in touch with Beverley, you can find her on Facebook or thefeminineguru.com. Is it just .com or .au?
.com.
Just .com. Excellent. All right. So if you want to get in touch that way. And like I said, they'll be in the show notes of the program. Thanks so much for coming on, Beverley. It's been really lovely sharing your feminine story.
Thank you, dear.
Thank you for listening to the Empowered to Shine podcast. My name's Leonie Bolt, and I'm glad that you were able to join us today. I hope you got some serious inspiration from today's episode. If you'd like to find more episodes, go to leoniebolt.com/podcasts or start subscribing on your favorite podcast streaming channel. I look forward to seeing you again soon.